The David Coote scandal continues. Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Welcome to another video. Yes, today's video is going to center more so around this whole David Coote drama, which of course unfolded before our very eyes on Monday and has been gathering momentum, snowballing ever since. I of course talked about this on Monday, so if you want more of an insight into what is going on and what is happening, go and check that video. But basically, in a nutshell, a video dropped on Monday of David Coote seemingly somewhat intoxicated with I assume an ex-friend of his now, talking about Liverpool Football Club, Jurgen Klopp, and basically saying that Liverpool's performance that he refereed or officiated a game in wasn't great, putting it nicely, and that Jurgen Klopp was a see you next Tuesday, and follow that up with he is a German see you next Tuesday. We're going to be talking about the aftermath of that. We're going to be talking about the developments that occurred afterwards, and of course the response from fans, pundits, ex-referees, and everybody of the like that has had their say on this as well. But before we get into all of that, because there is a lot to get into today, I would like to remind you all to please like the video and also subscribe if you're new. Both things are always and forever greatly appreciated. Get involved in the comment section as well. Let me know your thoughts, your comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, that I'm sure will make for great and interesting reading on this video. Use and abuse that comment section, people, and talk to me on this intriguing topic that has of course taken the footballing world, or at least the Premier League world, English footballing world, by storm. Right, now that that's out of the way and done with, let's get on with the video. Let's talk this whole David Coote drama situation and the fallout to it. So on Monday, the video drops, and you're thinking, this is absolutely incredible. This is absolutely phenomenal, and this is going to rock the footballing world, the Premier League world, and of course is going to bring more shame and embarrassment to Howard Webb and the PGMOL. Now, initially, what came out was David Coote seemed to try and pull the wool over everybody's eyes by claiming the video was somewhat fake. Now, that led to two things in my mind. One, if it is fake, it's either an angry Liverpool fan that looks like David Coote has gone out of his way and had too much time on his hands to make a parody video in which he looks like David Coote and is basically trying to obviously harm his career and harm his life in this kind of way. Maybe he's also angry that he looks like David Coote. I don't know. But yes, that did cross my mind, if that was genuine, that there is a doppelganger of David Coote out there that would make a video on him to try and harm him and his career. Or AI is getting even more scarier, which is terrifying to think of, but it could be possible. Well, about an hour or so later, he accepted reality in the end and admitted that the video was indeed real. It's not like a matchday official, is it, to quickly change their minds on their views and things, so fair play to him on that one. But the baffling thing about that was, when he did admit it, he came out and said afterwards he had no consent on the video being recorded. No consent on the video being recorded, which, as we know, is a lie, isn't it? It is a lie, because he actually said on the second video that under no circumstances should that video be released. And it was. So it wasn't exactly like he was being recorded in incognito, like. It wasn't like he was being secretly recorded. This isn't like a Sam Allardyce in a pub with a pint of wine situation talking about third-party rulings or whatever the hell it was. He genuinely stared into the camera and said, under no circumstances should this be leaked out. And it was in incredible circumstances. So Now that that's out of the way and done with, we obviously know it was definitely him. There is like no look-alike kind of fan out there that looks like David Coote. There is no AI that is so good at making it look like human error, and the way that it's recorded, that's like a human, that AI is getting even more scarier. It was genuinely him. It was genuinely him. Now, the fallout to this has been incredible. And I think what's made it even more so incredible, and obviously being blown up to this proportion, has of course been the fact that this is an international break. I feel like if this was an ordinary Premier League week, or even with midweek Champions League action, yes, it would have hit, yes, it would have been a big scandal, but because there's nothing else going on right now as we await and are in the very early stages of the international break, it's obviously blown up even more so than what I think it would do in an ordinary week, in my personal opinion. So everybody and their dog has pretty much had their say on this whole David Coote situation. Fans have been calling him to lose his job. Fans have been saying he can't ever referee again, and rightfully so. How can you trust this guy in the Premier League ever again? Especially when you know that he's got some sort of hatred towards Liverpool. Even if Jurgen Klopp isn't there no more, he still did call out Liverpool. And even the guy at the end, whether or not David Coote echoes those views or not, says he hates Scousers. So there is clearly some sort of connection there between them two. So how can he obviously referee another Premier League game again, which will obviously affect Liverpool in some way, shape or form, even if it is a lower league game, such as like a Southampton versus a Crystal Palace or something? It still may have a knock-on effect on Liverpool in some way, shape or form. There is no way he can return to refereeing or officiating at the top flight of English football. Some have said that they've blown this out of proportion and that he is not a robot. He is entitled to have his own views and opinions. And let me just say, you're absolutely right. He is allowed to have those opinions and views. I'm sure a lot of people were riled up by Jurgen Klopp during his time, whether it be Borussia Dortmund, whether it be at Liverpool or wherever else he's been, maybe even at Mainz, and he's riling up people right now with the way that obviously he's taken the Red Bull job. But let's face it, when you bring his nationality into it, and when, of course, you look back on the archive of his officiating history, in which he has officiated a lot of big Liverpool games and has seemingly been wrong on so many occasions in deciding big moments that should have potentially gone in Liverpool's favour, questions are to be asked. The integrity of the game is to be called into question. Whilst I agree that he should have these opinions, and I'm not saying he should be like a robot or anything, he is meant to put all of those kind of things aside for the integrity of the game, to be as impartial as possible and to try and get as fair a result as possible within the game that he officiates. That's the main bulk of this. Because if this was happening against other teams, your own team, because this is that second comment is mainly from the likes of rival fans, you wouldn't like it. You would hate it. And let's face it, every single fan base out there believes at least one referee has it in for them. And if David Coote is going on record as to saying this kind of thing, who's to say that other referees don't hold the same opinions, but maybe about different clubs? Who's to say Michael Oliver doesn't have it in for Manchester United? Who's to say that Anthony Taylor doesn't have it in for Chelsea, as a lot of Chelsea fans believe he has it in for them? Who's to say Michael Oliver, again, may not like Arsenal? And after what's happened this season, a lot of Arsenal fans may agree with that statement. But again, it opens that door, doesn't it? The door has now been wide open now for a couple of days, thanks to this video dropping. Howard Webb has tried to get referees back on side. He's failed miserably. He's failed horribly. He does his little show every so often in which he talks about VAR decisions, and he just talks in riddles and talks in very vague sentences that eventually get nowhere. And then this video drops, and all of a sudden we're questioning what the hell is going on at the PGMOL, what the hell is happening with referees, and what the hell is happening to the integrity of the game that we love. And fans are out there defending it. It's baffling to me. The media's opinion has been questionable as well. The vast majority of the media's opinion has been strange as well. Most of them feel sorry for David Coote, especially ex-referees, which I find completely... I'm not completely shocked by it, but I find completely irritating when it's obvious what he's done, it's clear what he's done, but yet they're out on Sky Sports or TalkSport or the BBC and they're going, oh, well, you know, I feel sorry for him because this video was never meant to come out. Why is he recording it in the first place? That was the big question I had on Monday. Why the hell was he recording it in the first place? And who the hell was he sending it to? Those are the questions that I asked on Monday, and they've been completely brushed over, as has a lot of what was being said. They gloze over what he said about the xenophobic term. I have not seen anybody talk about the way that he brought Klopp's nationality into his rant. I have not seen anybody talk about that other than, I think, Simon Jordan briefly mentioned it, but he didn't go in enough, in my opinion. I think he brought it into conversation, but didn't go in. No one else is really bringing up that xenophobic term. It's just being brushed under the carpet. Most people are mainly talking about just him calling him the C word, but it's baffling to me. It is completely baffling to me that most of the media are just basically glazing over that and not saying anything, and are mainly feeling sorry for the guy. They're mainly feeling sorry that this video leaked. They're mainly feeling sorry that his career's now in ruin. No, this moron, this absolute pillock did it himself. He did it himself. Simple as that. It's as simple as that. That's what people don't seem to realise, is that this guy screwed himself over. This guy shot himself in the foot. And the only person this guy can blame is himself. Is himself. It's baffling to me that people are defending this. And ironically, there is... Obviously, everybody's had their, has pitched in their opinions on this. Everybody on Twitter has. Everybody that is a casual fan, to a proper fan, to a pundit, to an ex-referee, whatever, has pitched in on this. Even Mike Dean pitched in on it. And again, he's another one feeling sorry for David Coote, and he's agreed on many occasions, he would protect referees on the pitch. He has advised referees not to go to monitors, not to watch things. And what has been incredible in this story is the way that stories like these and clips like these on podcasts, on interviews, on TV shows have resurfaced in the aftermath of this whole scandal. Mike Dean, like I mentioned earlier, claiming that he didn't send a referee to a monitor to review a situation because he had a hard game. I'm sorry, but it comes with the territory of being a referee. Sometimes you're going to be in those kinds of situations. You just got to be an adult and deal with it. I'm sorry, but that's the way that I see it. If he wasn't going to handle it, don't put him in the firing line in such a big game. Simple as that. There was a clip I saw of Danny Simpson talking about how a referee should have sent off a Leicester player, I believe, in the season that Leicester won the Premier League. But the referee turned around to him and said, we're not going to send him off because I want to see Leicester win the title. This is getting ridiculous. There have been stories of how referees wouldn't send players off or would be slightly biased towards the opposition team if they didn't like a certain team. Stories like this have resurfaced or came out in recent days because of this whole scandal. And it's questioning, again, I'll say it again, is questioning the integrity of the game. And not just from this season, but from years and years and years gone by. And it's absolutely incredible to me that this is becoming a thing. But it's even more incredible that it has taken 3 days, 3 whole days, 72 hours for these two to have actually said a single word about it. These two men right here, Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville. It's been incredible that it's taken 3 whole days for these two men to actually say a single word on this story. Because the radio silence over the past few days has been absolutely deafening. Absolutely deafening and telling from these two. When Nottingham Forest, when Wolves, when Liverpool, when Arsenal put out statements accusing the PGMOL and demanding answers from the PGMOL, these two were all over it. These two were all over it like a rash. They condemned it. They argued it was childish. They argued that it was like, I think in Jamie Carragher's words, a drunk guy in a pub ranting and raving. That was what he said about the Forest statement. They condemned it. They were all over it. They were quick to defend their mates at the PGMOL. All of a sudden, this story, this scandal, this idiot does something like this, and there's radio silence from these two. There is radio silence from these two. Until today. But before we get into the response, I just want to say and ask the question of why that is. Why has it taken so long for them to respond? Have they been getting their answers prepared? Have they been going through with other people to get their stories straight? What has been the reason for why these two, who during an international break are probably frothing at the mouth to talk some football during the international break, and, you know, we'll talk about these kinds of stories when it is against the PGMOL. Why has it taken them so long? This is the international break. This has been the biggest story of the past few days. Why? And I can only assume that the reason has obviously been to get their story straight. Because there has been this theory and conspiracy for a while that Sky and the PGMOL are somewhat in bed together. They're somewhat together on this. And they have each other's backs. And Sky is like a PR team for the PGMOL. And they will defend the PGMOL on everything and anything. We know a few weeks ago, I can't remember the game now, but the referee made a wrong decision in a game, and Jamie Carragher was first and very quick to go on Twitter, formerly Twitter, X now, but I hate it, to go on Twitter, it'll always be Twitter to me, and speak about how they got it wrong. That tweet was quickly taken down. And we questioned why. Now, it was brushed under the carpet. But the more that these things continue, the more that these things happen, it's becoming... The conspiracy theory is becoming more and more possible. It's becoming more and more... There's gathering more and more evidence. It's gathering more and more momentum that it could actually be a thing. It could actually be a legit thing that Sky is protecting and trying to cover up for the PGMOL's mistakes. You have Howard Webb on Gary Neville's show, The Overlap podcast. It's been and they don't grill him as much as they should. Even though there has been a ton of mistakes in the past couple of years alone, regardless of what's happened before that, in the past couple of years alone, it's got worse. The standard of refereeing has got worse. The usage of VAR has declined. And Howard Webb, in his justifications and his talk show, in which he tries to talk about the process of referees to VAR, has just been talking nonsense. Absolute nonsense. It's been incredible. The response from these two men in particular when everybody else has had their say. And it only drives this narrative forward that Sky is protecting the PGMOL. Only drives that forward. Don't want to sit here with a tinfoil hat or anything, but that's just the way that I see it. And a lot of other people are starting to realise it as well. Now, I did mention that the silence had been broken. Before this, there was not a single tweet from either of them. There was not a single interview. There was not a single video clip. Anything along them lines. There was nothing. Zilch. Zero. Nada. Nothing from these two men. Until today. Where in a response to one Rebecca Arnold, Jamie Carragher posted on Twitter that what he has learned over the past few days, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit when I say this because Rebecca also tweeted at Jamie Carragher, well, not directly at him, but just put him in her original tweet. He said what he's learned in the past few days is that her and plenty of others are desperately seeking for attention by throwing their names, i.e. Carragher and Neville, in their tweets about any controversy in football. I gave my opinion on it on We Are The Overlap yesterday morning. It drops tomorrow, as in Thursday. I'm sure you'll see it. Well, the point is, Jamie, is that if this had been another statement by a football club against the PGMOL, you would be the first to condemn it. What we are asking for here is for your opinion to see if it matches up with what you have stated beforehand. Because you've been so adamant in denying that there is any wrongdoing within the PGMOL, and so adamant in the ways that you speak about the PGMOL, that it's been incredible the way that you've responded. And you've only just responded and you didn't even say anything. So was this basically a way to just drive up your podcast numbers? I potentially think so. I would potentially think so with the way that you tweeted there. And then Gary Neville, one quote from, he does a US podcast that's out apparently. One quote seemingly from Gary Neville on the Overlap US. He's called Jurgen Klopp the C word, which is very aggressive, but I didn't see anything within his words that told me he had influenced decisions in the wrong way. That he's been looking to do Liverpool over. I'm sorry, but he's been in the game long enough to know that if you have these kinds of thoughts that David Coote has on someone, whether it's subconscious or conscious, there's going to be a bias there. You're only human. There's going to be some sort of subconscious or even proper conscious bias there. And I'm not just saying that this is Liverpool purely. I've already mentioned earlier, there are certain other clubs that seemingly think other referees have it in for them. So, for me, this is about dropping tribalism and looking at the bigger picture. Because it's not just Liverpool that suffer. This is why I've been saying all season. It's not just Arsenal that have suffered this season. Wolves have suffered. I've done a video on them in the past. Nottingham Forest have suffered. I've done a video on them in the past. United have even suffered. Chelsea. Man City. To a lesser extent. Everton. Tottenham a little bit. Everybody has suffered from the incompetence of referees and the PGMOL. And on some level, I hope that this guy is a one-off and many people can leave their biases at the door and remain impartial for a full game of football. But this has opened the door now to those questions being asked. And all I ask from people like Gary Neville, people like Jamie Carragher, is for a level of consistency. A level of consistency that we are not getting. We have not got the kind of condemning of David Coote that we would have got if this was a football club. We wouldn't have got the condemning of David Coote from these two that we would have got if this was a player, a manager, a coach, an owner. But because it's a referee, somehow these two are not saying a single word until a few days later. I find it weird, I find it baffling, and I find it absolutely confusing. And like I say, all we ask is for a level of consistency. But there you have it. Those are just the thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, of this guy. I want to know what you guys think. What do you make of this whole David Coote situation, the fallout, the aftermath, and of course the response from fans and media, journalists, ex-players, ex-referees alike. I would love to know what you guys are thinking and feeling down below in that comment section. I'm sure it'll make for great and interesting reading. Otherwise, hit the like button on the way out if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you are new or want to see more content like this. Both things are always and forever greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. Thank you all for your continued or even brand new support. It's very much appreciated and awesome as always. So thank you very much for all of that. I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch Talks video, and I'll soon speak to you all again soon in another video or live stream or whatever it may be. Cheers, guys. Thanks for watching. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. Speak to you all again very, very soon.